Foxglove. Hey guys, yeah, we've made it to another Tuesday. Yeah, things are starting to kind of pick up a bit now, aren't they? Oh God, I think we just reached the 100th day of lockdown, so milestone party. Yeah, so we're going to carry on with our collagraphs that we started the other week. I'm not going to lie, so what I did was I made the collagraph, the plate that we started. So I decided to add a bit more to it and leave it out to dry overnight. Unfortunately, it started to rain that night, so I kind of knocked the plate up a bit. But I thought I'd go with it anyway. It started. Let's try and rectify something out of something that the weather's kind of taken itself to. So I've got the plate. I've added a bit to it. I've added a bit more kind of structure to it, a bit more kind of even spread. Some of the textures that I put, I think one of the sticks that I used for the tree was standing out a bit, so it wouldn't have printed so well. So we're going to teach us how this week to ink this up. We're going to do two techniques on two different types of paper. We'll try rolling, and then we'll try using a kind of scrimming technique, but we're not going to be using scrim, we're going to be using kitchen roll. Yeah, I've been having a look on the forum, guys, and the work he's doing is class. The lockdown gallery is looking great. I've got a windy fig tree kind of just above my head, so it's gonna. I know that it's gonna take over the camera at some point, but we're gonna have to deal with it. Sorry if it's windy and the sound's a bit bad as well, guys. I've tried to flip the camera or the microphone the other way to sort out the sound. If it doesn't work that way, yeah, we'll see how it goes. So what we're going to need is, guys, we're going to need our plate that would start last week. We've got our glass to put the ink on. You've all been sent off some water-based inks. I don't know what colours you've got, but I'm going to go with standard black. Then a bit of water just to water it down. Palette knife or any type of knife will do, just to break down the ink, just so it spreads a bit better. And we're gonna be trying to get some ink onto this paper. We're gonna be soaking the paper, and we're gonna be not soaking some of the other paper. I've got two types of paper we're gonna be using. We'll have the paper that you have been sent, and we've got some of this delightful silk paper that I'm going to, which is much thinner, that might print a bit better. So it's all a bit of an experiment today, guys. If this works, class. If it doesn't, at least we'll learn how to print it without a press. So I'll catch you in a couple of secs, and then we'll get this started, okay? Let's get this party on the go. Okay, guys, so what I've done is I've got some paper. What I've done is quickly I've soaked it in water. Simply just run the tap in your sink, have a little kind of small amount of water in there, and then just let it soak for about 3 to 4 seconds. Usually you would get a squeegee and then wipe that down. Right, there goes that lovely part of the cardboard box in the wind behind us. But yeah, so what we're going to do is you're going to soak the paper, and then we're going to use that cardboard box. Normally we'd use some blotting paper to kind of soak up some of the water. We'll use the cardboard box because we've got more of it around the house, I think. So yeah, once you've soaked it, this is going to go into this cardboard box, okay? And then we're just going to place it there nicely and simply cover it all up and press it down, okay? Give it a good squidge just to get the excess water off the top. And the reason we're soaking the water is soaking it in water just so the ink can kind of pick it up, or can set into the paper a lot better. It expands the paper and just makes it just work that little bit better without a press. Normally we'd do it with a press, but we're going to see how this goes, okay? Okay, so once you've got that, I'll put that aside, and then we can start getting the inks together. So what we'll start with is just a massive dollop, as always, of your water-based inks. Now, since this is water-based, to break it down and make it a bit thinner, we'll use water to break it down. However, if you're using oil-based, you can use linseed oil. If you don't have linseed oil, just a bit of vegetable oil will do. Not too much, because you don't want it too runny, but you don't want it too thick. It's quite good to be thick if you're doing on linos, but since we're trying to get as much of the surface covered as possible, we're going to be using quite relatively runny consistency. Okay, we'll see how it goes. So again, you're just going to add a little bit of water to your glass or perspex or plexiglass, whatever you want to call it, sheet. It just means that it spreads a lot better. Okay, it can distribute it out nicely, and yeah, we can get a nice consistency, especially if we're going to use a roller, which I don't think we're going to do today. So once you've just mixed that, just continue to mix that in so it's a nice consistency, and yeah, so it's all broken up, not too runny, so it just kind of falls off your palette knife or whatever you're using to mix. Now when we're putting it onto the plate, you can either use a paintbrush, or just to cut a bit of cardboard just to spread it across, and we'll use the kitchen roll as a scrim. If you do have any netting or any fine netting, it's quite good to use as a scrim. You'll just get a ball of kitchen roll, wrap it up, and then tie it off at the top, and then there's your scrim. It just means that you can get into each little texture that you've made on your collagraph. So yeah, I think we're ready to start inking up, which I don't have my cardboard bits, so I'm going to go and get that, and I'll show you how to ink up. Right, 2 seconds. Okay, next stage. We've got kitchen roll, we've got plate, bit of cardboard. So simply, guys, what you're going to be doing, you're just going to take a good amount and start covering your plate with the ink. You want to be getting all those textures that are raised inked up pretty well, because that's going to be the part that's going to be printed. The kind of more solid they are on the paper, it's the best, alright? So you just simply covering over as much as you can. See what I'm doing there? To make sure that we get some good textures brought out onto the plate. Now I'm going to carry on working into this after I get this bit apart. So using your kitchen roll, you're going to take off all the excess in a kind of twisted motion, or twisting motion. And this also helps distribute some of the ink into parts of the plate that you've not yet covered. And hopefully give the piece and that really stand out when we print it. Okay? As always, guys, it's the process, not the outcome. The outcome's always awesome, but yeah, it's a technique we'll learn. Oh, I've lost a bit. Right, I'm going to carry on with this, and we'll get ready to print ASAP. Prepare for speed up time. Okay, so guys, we have our plate kind of covered, okay? What I've done is I've just using the tip of the this is thingy-majiggery kitchen roll, just to kind of take any excess bits off that are just a bit too thick, that I don't want picking up too much of the print when I put it on the paper. So what we have is, I folded a piece of paper in half, just to be kind of my backing. I'm going to lay that down, and I'm going to be able to register this. So I'm wanting to put it, check it in the middle, grab each corner, and then put it nicely over the print. And then we're going to press this down. Now you can use, if you've got one of these hand presses, use the hand press. If not, you can use a kitchen roller, but you want to apply quite a lot of pressure onto this. It's good to do this with clean hands as well, so once you've inked up, if you get your hands nice and clean, to get this laid down. going to be much more successful when you have a press. So keep these plates and we'll bring them back to the studio, and we're going to be able to print them off perfectly. But this, as a moment of truth, which again is no high hopes, is our lovely mono print or collagraph print, which I think's come out too badly. Okay, so because I've used quite a thicker bit of paper there, it's not going to, it'll set a lot better with that when you've soaked it. If you're using a thinner bit of paper, like the silk paper that we've got, again, we'll just make sure that we'll ink this up good and proper, and yeah, I'll go through that one because you don't need as much pressure with that, okay? So I'll pause, I'll ink this up again, come back, and then just show you the final result of that. Yeah, so needs ink, you need to spread, something to scrim, and you need some water to thin out the ink, okay? Yeah, class. Catch you in a couple of secs. Okay, so the next one's going to work on the same principle, guys, okay? However, we're going to use a paintbrush, and we're just going to kind of build up the colour, or build up the textures with the paintbrush if you don't have any cardboard to do, or a scrim. This just packs it on a bit thicker, just so we get every little bit covered, because your textures might be quite delicate. Being stuck on, they might move around if they haven't been stuck on like really vigorously. I know that I'm using vegetation here, that it's gonna not work as well because it does move. The paintbrush is just a more delicate way of doing it. So you're wanting to just again build up, cake this in ink, getting in every nook and cranny, and making so it's all covered for a similar print outcome. I need some more ink on here, so I'm going to catch this in a sec. I'll again speed up all this and I'll get you when I'm ready to print. Cool. Okay, so same principle, guys. You're going to be using the silk paper, not sugar paper. The silk paper. Oh, pardon me. The silk paper that you've got sent out in your boxes. I've chosen a lovely green because they've gone for some greenery. Again, it's the same principle. So you paint it over everything. Logically, that with the paper being a lot thinner, it should stick a little bit better. However, without the expansion when you're putting through the water. So you've got the silk paper, and again I'm going to register this. If you want to experiment and soak it, feel free to do so, but laying over the top, cover it, and then we're going to do it the same thing again, applying as much pressure as we can across the plates. Hopefully this won't rip the paper because it's very fine, but come out with a very more precise image. You'll be able to see while you're doing this that the image is becoming embossed into the paper you're pressing into. That's a good thing. You want it to get as much possible, or as much pressure as possible, to bring out the final print. Okay, I think I'm going to fling in the towel on this one and see how that's turned out. Again, just some nice patterns. We didn't have the vivid imagery as we did before, but we can see that we've got a lot more of the kind of textures in there. So yeah, I'll get the other one and then I'll sign off. So we have two collagraphs come from that one plate. They've come out relatively nicely. The flatter your images, guys, so the flatter the textures are, or the more even spread the textures are, the better it'll come out. As I said, we can keep these plates, and when we get back to the studio we'll print them off. We'll get our lovely production line going, and we'll get loads of prints off ready for you to go. As always, guys, though, you have been amazing. It's good to see you every week. I used to do class. As things are starting to get, restrictions are starting to get uplifted a bit. Hopefully we'll get to see each other a lot more. But yeah, that's it. If you've got any questions, you always know I'm in the comments on the forum. Give us a shout if you want any advice. Next week I think we might give jelly prints a try, so stay tuned for that. And yeah, always a pleasure to see you guys, and I'll see you next week. All me peace and love. You're amazing. Before the wind attacks me and I can't do anything else. Bye.